What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a yearly kickoff. Crypto 2026 is supposed to be a boring year for crypto. Sideways, post-halving, no hype at all, no narratives. That's what everyone is saying is crypto is going to be in 2026. But what if this year is set out to surprise everyone and to set a new paradigm for crypto, for Bitcoin, for the crypto cycle, for altcoins and everything that we were looking at and got so disappointed in the last year, right? So we're going to go a little bit into why many expectations might be wrong, completely wrong, and what it might have in store for us. And obviously we are going to look at every side about the macro. I mean, we have important developments in the world, right, with the Venezuela situation right now. But also I want to look a little bit at Ecomi and Veve and stuff like that we love so much, and also talk a little bit about about Veve in France, Veve in Europe, right? So let's get right into it. We still have the lines in from last year and what we are expecting. There's a little bit of good news here in the Bitcoin price action, looks promising. And what this curve here is nothing but, when we are zooming out, the shoulder that we were anticipating, and that might unfold somewhere here, might or might not unfold, right? And I've said before last year, during our last stream that we made, and that is already a while ago, that if we were to come up here, that's basically the decisive move. Can we come back over the bull market support band, or will we fall short, not putting in an all-time high, right? And there are a lot of reasons to expect that there might be an all-time high, and that the 4-year cycle is dead and everything's going to go to a new paradigm, right? But still, technically, and based on the indicators that I am looking at, we are in a bear market, right? So we are, since that fall, in a bear market where the Bitcoin top is marked based on the 5-year rule, based on the 500-day rule. And obviously that is supposed to break as well, right? So don't take this too seriously with the Bitcoin top. Welcome everyone who is in the chat. Do me a favor, smash up the like button if you enjoy a good live stream on the Sunday afternoon. Let's see, we have Noetic Signal here. We have Penguin Colada in the chat. Good afternoon, time for a coffee. I've been in Veve since March 2021, DCAing all the way. Let's hope this year gets bullish finally. Bring the good word. Yeah, good to see you all and welcome. Like smashed, I hope. Let's get into it. So just from the macro perspective on indicators, Bitcoin has formed a cross on the TSI here. So what was different already is we didn't spike into this downward sloping trend line. Instead, it seems almost as if everyone had looked at this in some way or form and decided to sell before that. It's going to be interesting how good this indicator is going to be looking forward. But if we take it seriously, then this is the beginning of a bear market, right? Or because it's a lagging indicator, that means there is already a bear market going on for some months, right? And that bear market, how long it will be, we will see, right? Let's check quickly out what is going on. So we have seen in the last couple of days a strike of the US on Venezuela. They captured the Venezuelan president Maduro and brought him to New York with his wife. And they did that in an overnight operation on the 2nd or in the night of the 2nd of January. And there are a couple of things regarding that. And I'm trying to put this very neutral, as it seems to always trigger people with regards to political opinions. And I think the point blank truth here is that you have 3 superpowers in the world, of which 2 of them at least are at war with each other, right? Which is Russia and US. And these three superpowers, they are fighting over resources because of a technological battle that is going on with regards to robotics, AI, productivity, demographic bombs, and everything that we've discussed around the year, right? So, and if we can take ideology out of this discourse, we can, and we absolutely neutrally observe what is going on, then we see that the more potent superpower or empire is striking at the resources that the other two had under their control. Nothing more, right? And try to secure it, or maybe effectively secured it for themselves in a weak moment of the others. Because if we've seen in the last decade or so, there were already tentatives to secure that. And now we do see that the US has struck out to secure that. And what did they secure? And I think that is important for financial markets and economic looking forward, and also what this is really about, right? Many people try to make this about personal destinies or political movements, if it's socialism, communism, imperialism, whatever, right? So trying to make that this a political discussion. In my opinion, that is a resource discussion or resource-driven conflict that is only about what is written out here. So let's see. Venezuela currently has 200 trillion cubic feet of natural gas reserves, which is the 34th largest in the world. So not even like in the top ones, right? But it has 2.3 billion barrels of crude oil, heavy oil reserves, which is the largest in the world. And that is one of the major points, right? This part here is what it's all about, because many people tried to discuss during the pandemic, when the oil price hit negative spike because of a supply to demand shock, that the time of oil or oil that we need in the economy is over, right? The contrary is true. We need more oil than ever, even though we are shifting to natural resources in stuff like cars and so on. But for plastics and heavy industry and ships and whatever, global logistics and aircraft, jet fuel and whatever, we still need it, right? So that's why if you can get it cheap and you can get your hands on a lot, you can basically control the oil price. And if you can, sorry, that was 300 billion barrels, not 2.3, 300 billion barrels. Then if you can control the oil price, you can basically control inflation, okay? And that's what the US really wants, right? They can then control, with this, tapping on this largest resource or largest depot in the world, they can basically control to some extent what the price of oil is going to be. So there is 4 billion tons of iron ore reserves worth 600 billion. Maybe not to neglect, but also not the main driver. 8,000 tons of gold resources, the largest in Latin America. This is important, gold, because we already saw if you revalue gold and you can get your hands on gold, extra gold, right? And you can just steal it or take it or conquer it, whatever you want to say. That makes a lot in the balance sheet of the central bank, right? 8,000 tons of gold. That's a lot. We will see. Someone broke it down here. At $60 roughly per barrel of oil, that's 18 trillion in the ground, which is nearly half of the US 38 trillion debt, right? So if the US was able to take this oil and sell it at $60 per barrel slowly and gradually, they could technically offset half of the debt. It's obviously not that way that it in the end works. They can just provide their economy with cheaper oil and then sell it to other countries that heavily relied on it. There's another strategic advantage, and this is the 300 billion barrels of crude oil basically hurts the Chinese economy also, because they are very reliant on that oil coming from Venezuela, right? So that will be interesting going forward, how this flow of oil is going to affect China. We see 500 million tons of coal reserves. I don't know how important that is, to be honest, because I've no idea about the relation of coal. And then 2% of the world's total renewable freshwater resources. And untapped, and this is important, right? The 7th point is untapped strategic minerals, including nickel, copper, phosphates. So these things are important for battery, all sorts of technology, I think solar panels and so on. I'm not a professional here, but it looks to me, if you're looking at this shopping list, basically, of the US here, it looks to me as, hey, what's our main problem in the US? Oh yeah, it's the oil price and inflation. It's the debt problem. It's the domestic industry of technology, stuff like that, right? So it basically looks like this solves a lot of the current problems of the US. And basically, the US's stance is, hey, we are the empire, and this guy is sitting on top of stuff that is basically at our front yard. So we take it because we can, right? So that's basically what's going to happen, or what is happening right now, in my humble opinion, right? So we will see what ripple effects this has, because of course this is pissing off Russia and China, and of course there's going to be somewhat of a reaction because of that, right? And then also of course it scares the hell out of the other countries in Latin America, because there are other countries that are sitting on a pile of strategic rare earth, rare mineral depots. We do see it here also. If we're looking at this, US is very dependent on heavy crude, which is exactly the oil that is coming out of that depot, right? So yeah, let me know in the chat what you think about all of this. But basically, 10 to 20% of crude oil imports were heavy crude oil in 1980s. Today, the majority of US crude oil imports are heavy crude oil, about 70%. So they are basically getting a major resource of that. As I said before, shopping lists dependent on that. Now, this is going to be, in the end, just one of many news in the long history of Bitcoin. If you're looking back, I mean, there was war and pandemic and so on influencing the price back and forth. For us that are sitting in crypto and potentially more heavier backs in crypto, it majorly what we're seeing depends on, hey, how is the overall global economy going? How is uncertainty perceived, as Bitcoin is more further out in the risk curve? So the question is, if this goes up or down, it's more like, how do global analysts or financial actors looking at these developments? And I would say short-term uncertainty, long-term there's going to be a certainty reestablished, just as with the Ukraine-Russia war, right? Everyone got used to this is happening and how the world economy wiggles around it. But yeah, we do see, hey, we're sitting at $91,200 roughly with Bitcoin, and that's the situation. And to be quite honest, we didn't really see much of an impact from that. I mean, this happened here, and we just went up on Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin really didn't care too much about this. In fact, we saw some upside there. Why? I don't know. Maybe because everyone's like, hey, the US is solving their problem. Hey, Pukaljotric, what is going on? Good to see you, my friend. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to each and everyone else. Now, the narrative where everyone seemed to agree on last year is basically that this was the Bitcoin top, or let's say not agree on, but the narrative that was being discussed and where many took the stance of this was the top, don't get fooled, 4-year cycle is intact, blah, blah. We did see that the year did close, oops, sorry. And actually, this is the month over month. I don't know if I can put that into. Oh yeah, there we go. No, that's correct. There we go. So what was basically the narrative of the 4-year cycle before we are going to go into, hey, this is probably not the top, right? Was like here, 1, 2, 3 green years, 1 red bear market year, right? 1, 2, 3 green years, 1 red bear market year, and 1, 2, 3. Right, this should have been green, but it actually isn't. We ended up in red, which doesn't fit the 4-year cycle, right? So this is why everyone's saying the 4-year cycle is dead. And now we're slightly in the green for this year, but this year is only 3 days old and a bit, so it doesn't really count. But so everyone's anticipating a bear market year here, based on the 4-year cycle, because based on the 4-year cycle, that must be the red year. But we already had a red year, right? So what's going on? Do we have a shift? Are we already in a bear market? Have we come out of a bear market, right? And this is very, very important. So if we're looking at the metrics right now, how tops usually look, we do see that with regards to the 180-day realized price percentage change marked in green, we do have a top signal, if it's a top, which is very similar to what happened just before the pandemic here, right? This little bump, right? And then this drop off. And we did have like several of these small bumps here, but we never crossed this line. So we didn't have these exuberant tops, which I think everyone can agree on, right? We didn't have this euphoria in the market that we had here and here and here, and also during this top formation, right? Instead, we had just multiple events of this happening, which bears the question, when is the next of these exuberant tops coming in? And this might be somewhere this year, end to this year, could be the one, right? Let's look at a couple of more of these, right? So I think this is let me quickly check what this is. I think this is the MVRV, the social risk. That's the social risk score. And the social risk score usually on tops is up here, right? So it's measured by social media engagement and comments and blah, blah. So in the last 2 cycles, we saw this spiking up heavily. Right now, because this price action was driven by institutions, this has fallen off a cliff and is actually creeping around the absolute bottom territory, which leads to some people arguing that we are actually in a bottom region, that this is a bottom, okay? Which then says, okay, but what happens after a bottom? Hey, we should go up in price. And that would be crazy, of course, right? Coming out of 90-something thousand as the bottom. But it's not unlikely. Next, Bitcoin Sharpe ratio, same situation, right? It usually is in the red territory at bubble and bottom, in bubble scenario, and in blue at the bottom scenarios, right? We are neither nor at the moment regarding to the Sharpe ratio, but we are very, very close. We are in the green zone, which is more towards the bottom, which is somewhere here. Like, this is the bear market trough where we do see this green zone with regards to Sharpe ratio, right? So every prior cycle, the best long-term entries didn't come when things felt safe. They came when losses were already realized. Risk looked ugly on paper and most people had stopped paying attention. Sharpe ratio around minus 0.5 has historically marked periods where downside was largely priced in and forward returns improved materially over time, which is, we're at zero, right now, basically, with regards to these last days. We're at zero, which is a little bit above this minus 0.5, but hey, we are in this green territory where I say, hey, if I see this, I'm buying, right? And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm buying every week with a small amount. And so is Saylor, right? So is Michael Saylor. We do see it here. This is the post from today, 2:46 p.m. That's pretty much 2 hours ago. And he's buying again, which with a 61.31 billion Bitcoin portfolio. And there is a FUD story around this, which is going to resolve in the next 4 or 5 days, I think, or within the next week. And that is that some people fear that Saylor's strategy is going to be delisted from the stock market, from the S&P 500, I think, or was it Nasdaq? Let me know in the chat which one it was. But basically forcing a forced sale of the stock, which could collapse the stock, right? So, and then could force theoretically Bitcoin sales, which could cascade into, and that would definitely give us a big bear market drawdown, right? So we will see if this really happens, because people are discussing still if it happens or not. We do see though that Saylor doesn't care. He's just buying everywhere, right? We do see all these buys that he had, like large buys, and then larger buys. Even here, he's a buyer at every territory, and we will see how this plays out. I would say more at risk are companies that have not been that long in the game, because the prices so the entry prices of Saylor are so low that his liquidation price is moving further and further away. So yeah, which brings me to how this year's beginning feels like in terms of global action, right? And we're looking at gold. And by the way, I said here a little bit jokingly as well, this could be the gold top just based on the RSI, right? It's not. It has already outperformed. So it's not the gold. Now the gold top is this one, right? Or around 29th of December, we did see another gold top, a higher gold top at 4,500. And the uptrend is still intact. And as many people say, like the trend is your friend until the end. So you could say, is this the gold top now, right? This year? Who knows, right? Gold is still on the rise. And as long as it's on the rise, it's some things will catch up, but it depends on where it is on the risk scale. So we did see silver catching up, and actually let's go back to gold and add silver into that chart. It's better to compare this with regards to that. And we can also, let's get rid of those lines, we don't need it. We can add the silver into this in a new scale. There you go, right? And we see that, yeah, silver did largely catch up, underperforming gold all the time, and now suddenly, bam, it caught up to it, right? And then we could add Bitcoin here as well into new scale, and we would see how, let's put this all, can I move this also into that? I'm trying to make this as comprehensive as possible, where I think like this we do see it, right? I mean, it's not perfect, but yeah, I think I think like this it makes sense. Like silver did this move after gold had already pumped, and we did also see that Bitcoin went with gold, but here there is a decoupling that happens here, right? And I think that's that has all to do with the risk perception, where people went basically and said, okay, de-risk Bitcoin as it is basically fulfilling its 4-year cycle, and then move into something that is good at uncertainty times. And that is silver, right? It's funny because silver actually starts to rally hard as Bitcoin supposedly topped out here. So to me, it seems that everyone's sitting on their hands in perceived safe havens like silver, Bitcoin, like silver, gold, and then also, if you were to see the S&P 500, even that did sell off a little bit in the last weeks. Small sell-off, but a little bit, right? And then there is the the Dow Jones, right? Where we also it's a little bit more greenish, but also had a little bit of a sell-off. But long term, these things are, after a long sideways downward crash move from 24 here, what was that? Like the distance to where it broke out was 260 days sideways, and then the Dow Jones broke out, right? So the industrial average basically says, hey, we're going. Even though it has some corrections, it says we're going. And then the S&P 500 is basically the same story, which also went sideways here in the same time frame here for those 200 days roughly, broke out, and since then it's going, right? We see it here. From this level, overhead resistance, basically we went. And this was, when this happened, just to refresh everyone's minds, when this happened in February 2025, all the way down here, which if I remember it correctly, had to do with the Japan carry trade unwind. When this happened, everyone and their mother was calling for Great Depression style crisis, which collapses the markets like 1929. When you're reading this today, just remember that at this time they also said this, and markets like the S&P 500 corrected 20%, and that's it. And then they just came back, and they did snap back within those 200. They went from here 20% down, and then within 120 days, so within 4 months, they came all the way back to where they were, right? So while everyone was calling for the Great Depression, it only took 4 months to come back. And then since then, it took another, 180 days for that thing to go another 12.4% to all-time highs, basically. Okay, so while Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what is his name, Kobayashi or something like that, Robert Kiyosaki, is calling like every day for the Great Depression style crash, governments all around the world are just easing the conditions to push markets higher. Because if markets go higher, voters are satisfied. Voters satisfied, they are going to vote for you, right? For whoever's in power and makes conditions better. So that means, if we are going to circle back to our initial story from the beginning of the stream with Venezuela and the oil and gold and rare earths and gas and coal and what the fuck ever they are basically tapping into, the US is setting itself up for injecting stuff here, right? So that the economy can go on lower everything cost, right? Lower energy, lower materials, blah, 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 right? So, and what this story here tells me is that everyone still wants to see how exactly these markets are coming back. Yes, I'm still buying Bitcoin, Jury. In fact, I've started buying Bitcoin when this happened, right? When I've started again when we were going down to like 90,000. I just put my DCA plan back into position. I did not buy all the way. When we were going beyond 100K, I stopped buying, and now I'm buying again, right? But yeah. So what it seems to me is like everyone's trying to figure out how exactly the US, you remember, the empire, is going to put the world economy back on track. And it doesn't have to be sustainable. Like the average person can't even remember what happened 2 years ago, right? No one fucking remembers the unwind of the Japanese carry trade, or I can't even, or the beginning of, like, can you pinpoint in the chart where the Ukraine war started, or where like the Hamas stories, the stuff started? Can you pinpoint that on somewhere on the chart? You can't, right? Because no one, and so no one can relate to when certain things influence the economy. So everyone is now only looking to the next couple of months. How will the Fed set up things? The US Fed, because it's the most relevant, right, for all the global markets. How will they set up the economy, and what is the US doing? And so everyone's saying, hey, let's sit in gold, let's sit in silver, and wait for the signal to put this into riskier assets, which can outperform. And one of these riskier assets is Bitcoin. Thank you. Pleasant Sunday surprise. Thanks, PH. Hey, Turtle Golf, good to see you. And Puka Jotric, I missed all of you as well, so happy to be here. And don't forget to smash up the like button to push the stream a little bit. And then I'm happy to discuss all of this. And there's one more thing. Like, if we're looking at the dollar, we did see, let's put this on a little bit higher time frame. We did see that the dollar, as we set this way up here together with all the other oracles of Delphi there in the on the X space, but we also covered it. We did expect when Trump came in that he will devalue the dollar, right? He said it before. I mean, he said we are going to devalue the dollar basically, and he did, right? So now what I see here from basically throughout 2025, when we have our sideways sluggish top formation, is that this drop of the dollar stopped, right? So it stopped right after we had all-time highs here in crypto. It stopped and moved sideways, which together in this story, I hope you can follow and I'm not jumping too much, together with the story, hey, let's sit in gold, let's sit in silver, also tells me everyone here was saying, okay, let's sit in dollar and wait. Let's sit in dollar and wait what's happening, because this is the dollar measured against a basket of other currencies in the world. And that means to me, like, there is only one way to get rid of dollar and devalue this, and that is moving dollar into other assets, right? And selling of dollar, and dollar demand collapses while that's happening. So if you want to get rid of dollars, I mean, you could technically just take the dollar bill and put fire to it, but that's not the common way that people get rid of dollar. The common way that people get rid of dollar is exchange a dollar for something, for groceries, for cars, for stocks, for gold, for Bitcoin, and so on. So usually when this happens, that means it's more valuable for people to get out of the dollar into something. And here, sideways to me means people stopped getting out of the dollar into something, but they also didn't get out of assets too much to get into the dollar. So the dollar didn't get revalued. It's just, for me, hey, let's sit in what we have and then go again, right? Or if there's something, usually if there's like something happening in the world where other currencies are getting massively devalued, then people out of those currencies flee into the dollar, and the dollar gets valued with regards to this basket of currencies. But to see that impact, you need like a massive move. So it could be that we're witnessing some kind of a bear flag here, where we see the next leg in the devaluation, because there's still 2 years or so of like midterms are coming up. There's more than 2 years of Trump still, right? So he can still go with that devaluation and continue. So yeah, that is the macro view all in all, right? Someone was asking about alts, about altcoins. Let's take this, right? So this is the others dominance, which is the altcoins outside of the top 10. They've stopped their bleeding mostly, but they're still underperforming, right? So that's what we see. But the real deal is to look at total 2, which is driven by Ethereum and the top 10, largely and mostly. Also here we have basically fucked up our trend, right? We lost the trend. We lost this entire pattern. We did not confirm. We did not break out. So, which is why I always say, like, if you break out, that's one story, but confirm. We did not have a single open or close above this overhead resistance. So yeah, we can basically get rid of this cup and handle, or we can just leave it there. It doesn't matter. Now I think it really doesn't matter anymore what this does on a daily basis. I mean, this is the monthly, right? So this is 1 month. Right now, up to this point, this month is green, but it doesn't, like the macro, unless Bitcoin shows what it's up to, it doesn't really matter what the rest of crypto is doing. If you're looking at Bitcoin dominance, you see it also like it's sideways. Nothing's happening for the last, I don't know, 2 months or so. Nothing really happened with regards of Bitcoin to Bitcoin dominance. What is interesting though is when you look at Bitcoin dominance and you compare it to the other cycle, and you assume that we could have a top here, right, in Bitcoin dominance. We also had a top here, like here, and then we moved all the way down for quite some time, and then we came all the way back up to then drop, right? So what if we do something like that right now? Coming out here, shoot up, and then collapse, right? That would be September 2026 if it was to play out like this. I don't know. I'm just playing around a little bit with what could be happening. The basis for these theories with 2026, for 2026 not being an extensive bear market year, are based on the ISM and based on a prolonged credit cycle after the research of Raoul Pal, right? So that's basically what's keeping that theory alive. What helps this theory is that the 4-year cycle is dead. Okay, so yeah. That said, quick look at altcoins. Altcoins are putting in a recovery. There we go. Everything's green on the week, which is why, I mean, everything's even green, like most is green even on the month. So yeah, but if you're looking at the year, it's not even close, right? Then you have Zcash and OKB, and that's basically it. Everything else is red, which reflects why the sentiment is so bad, because someone who has an altcoin bag that comprises of, let's say, Algorand, Optimism, Casper, Bonk, Arbitrum, Polygon, and so on, is like 70% down, right? That is what is going on. So that is the reason, I think, why people are so desperate for any signs of a reversal, because they want to get at least to break even, which requires 100% move or 200% move out of many of these coins. And some coins, like if you're down 90% on Celestia, you need a 10x to break even. Same for Omi, right? Same for Omi. If you just bought here somewhere and you didn't you didn't pick up some at the lows, then you need a 10x or something like that to even come out of the slump for OMI, right? By the way, I did revamp the OMI chart a little bit here for you guys, because on this logarithmic, I'll just wanted to highlight that you basically have a channel here which is active since, at least since October 21. And if you would draw it in that way, it never broke. So you have a downtrend until proven otherwise, right? And that has not changed. But that's also the time in which basically all the other altcoins, except Solana and a couple of top 10 coins and some new coins, but altcoins from that cycle have been heavily bleeding throughout this time, right? So and you're starting to get moving averages here and so on. Like it's drastically underperforming, right? So that for Ecomi. What is good though is that we do see we've never seen that much progress on the token in all that time, right? Than we have right now, which is good news to me, and which wants me to put at some point a little bit more into the position to bring down the average, but also to bet on this a little bit riskier scenario that at the end of 2026 there might be an alt season where OMI still plays a role, right? Right now we're hovering at 0002. We've been way worse already down here at 0001. So, I mean, kudos to who bought down there. You are like up 90%, right? If you bought that low. Hey, Duck and Cover, what's going on? By the way, since we're already talking Ecomi, Veve, and so on, who is going to Paris? Who's going to Paris in February for NFT Paris, where Veve is going to be? That is the question, right? At least that's what I understood, that they are there. Which brings me to, let's check out their channel. Let's check out their channel to see what we have missed, and you let me know meanwhile. Okay, so then we're going to see each other very, very likely, 99% likely, we're going to see each other in Paris. Someone made Serial Wonder made level 100. Congratulations. They did drop more Ninja Turtles. Oh, there it is. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles debut on Veve. This is for NFT Paris, I guess. 50 plus hours, what is that? That's an ad. Damn, these ads are really hard to identify. I thought that's a drop. Oh, another level 100. Oh, Sleepin' Comics got level 100. Congratulations there, Sleepin'. Let's see. Hopefully you are coming to Paris to collect your rewards, right? Very good, very good. What is this? Aloha Friday Community. Okay, so it's True Media Group. Comics. This is all from this year, right? Yeah, January 2. Another level 100. Yo-Yo, I'm Totally is also level 100. So a lot of people are hitting level 100 right now. This is interesting. Okay. I do not see too many banger drops here. Black Panther. I do not see too many of these banger drops. Oops. Figpin. Oh, they're still with a Figpin. App pins, blind box rips, Veve prototype hidden in a box. Interesting. There's something else. There we go. Yeah. Oh, I have this one. I have this comic. what this guy here has in the starter. Yeah, very cool. A lot of things are happening there for the for the smaller, like for the comic drops. Apparently, oh, I didn't even see that. Apparently today that someone could be going for those in a blind box format. But there was a new Happy New Year one. I don't know if you looked into your account, but I got this. This is actually pretty cool mint. I got this 111 mint for of this Happy New Year celebration, which is quite cool. Yeah. Ducky Cover says, I know David will be in Paris, but I don't know if Veve are present at the convention. Oh, okay. Yeah, we will see. We will see. We will see, but they should. I mean, it would be a lost opportunity to not be with a booth at that show, because I think that's a pretty big show. So you could get a lot of attention there. So it would be a little bit of a failure, right? If you wouldn't go. But I don't know. I didn't look too much into that. I have to get up to speed. Yeah. So let's see. I don't know. These are the last collectibles that I have. I didn't get too many of those in the past. I also don't know how you can measure the market right now, because they get rid of the gem as the primary means of exchange. Now you have to do it through Stacker with Omi. So I have to dig more into that, but I think we'll figure that out as well. Anyways, guys, let me check out one thing. I wanted to there was one thing in the Veve Immutascan data where there was a massive spike, which got some people a little bit excited, but actually isn't that much as perceived. So I wanted to quickly address this, and that is this. So like these numbers that were creeping around 668, 700, and then bam, massive spike to, I don't know, 30k plus owners. And apparently this has to do with some intermediary wallet where Veve is pulling or pushing things onto or mints, and those wallets somehow they go from 0 to 1 collectible, which then only becomes visible as a new wallet here, right? So this, I believe, is the New Year's drop, which everyone received some form of. I don't know if it was based on, hey, you're active or not, but apparently we see the spike here, and we might be able to ignore that. But it also distorts a little bit. Like we probably cannot really look at this development here. We have to factor out most of this, I believe, right? We will see how it develops here. We have almost no movement. We have here an increase over January of 62 or so, but then we have like 62, 53, so a little bit sell off, 51, 50. So a couple of people that had zero received this New Year's drop, and then they sold it off. And that's it, right? So there are people that basically sold off everything, and every time they receive a freebie, they are selling it off in the market, right? Could it have something to do with the migration? That also might be possible. Because of this Veve collect chain, right? The collect chain might play an important role for Omi this year. Absolutely. I fully agree. Stacker, collect chain. And this is why I want to go to Paris, because if first of all, it's good to connect with each and everyone in real life. I was really since Oxier, I was really looking forward to another one of those because I couldn't make it to Portugal last year. But also maybe to get a chance to talk to David about, hey, what's the next thing, right? How does this all, like, I have the feeling we're migrating from immutable X to base to making your own collect chain, right? It seems to me that Veve is trying to find the right way to position this, but at some point also there needs to be some substance behind this, right? You can't just go from hype to hype without trying to criticize this too much. But I want to understand it, because I have the feeling that I don't fully understand it right now. So I want to understand it. But yeah, good point. God's own minter. the collect chain does play an important part for that. So yeah, just want to get my head a little bit more into that Veve game. And then I think there was also something like that regarding Omi. It was not so much around, right? I think there was a post from Foster saying that December 27th, collect is purpose built for digital ownership, and Omi is a first-class citizen. Staking, burn mechanisms, ecosystem participation, and more, all coming on a blockchain designed for collectors. The vision will become reality in 2026. This is just the beginning. So that hashtag soon, they're still joking with that. So that's going to be interesting, right? So let's check this out a little bit more. I didn't see that article yet, so I'm at least a week behind that. I don't know if you guys saw it already. It seems to me they're tired of finding the right direction, so they decided with Dr. Collect to just build their own. Yeah. And this might be good, right? If no one can provide what the collectible market actually needs in that point, and they can build their own and make. I mean, I remember that. It must have been 2 to 3 years ago when David said his dream was that at that time Omi becomes its own chain, and that other projects also building on that, right? So that would be that thing. So for the past year, our team has poured everything into something we believe will fundamentally change how we think about digital ownership. Not another blockchain project, not another NFT marketplace, something different. Something built from the ground up for one purpose, making digital collecting work like the real world. This idea wouldn't exist without David and Dan, who helped bringing it to life. And now, after a year of building It's Real, today they're launching the website at collect.app. Your first look at what we've been building and where we are headed. And while you're reading this, our testnet is already running without interruptions in the background. This is our baby, and by our, we mean the entire Veve community. We are reinventing the possibilities of digital collecting together in real time. This is good because I remember when I started the YouTube channel, I think most of what Veve could potentially become with Ecomi was driven by a lot of speculation and the hype of the 2021 crypto cycle. And now we can, with, let's say, a little bit dampened sentiment and so on, we can look with more realism on what it really is, right? So reality check, digital collecting is broken. Physical collecting works perfectly. You buy something, you own it, you can sell it, lend it, display it. But digital, it's been a mess. Platforms shut down. You don't really own anything. Royalties get bypassed. Your ownership exists at the mercy of a server somewhere. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're changing that. Collect is a layer 2 blockchain built specifically for digital collecting. Not a general purpose chain we're repurposing. Purpose-built infrastructure where ownership works like it should. Speed, security, rules that actually stick, and an integrated CDN for seamless content delivery. And while Veve is our first and most important partner, this blockchain isn't just for Veve, it's for every licensor in the world who wants to feel safe in Web3. Every brand that's been burned by broken royalties, fake NFTs, and zero control, we're building the infrastructure they can finally trust. And that's exactly the right point to address, in my opinion, because now we had enough damage with the Recurse and other projects. What was it, Quid, and so on, that went down with everyone else's stuff, right? So this might be an interesting thing. Every brand that's been burned by by broken royalties, fake NFTs, and zero control. Yeah, that's what. Under the hood, we built on Ethereum with Celestia for data availability, full Ethereum virtual machine compatibility, dramatically faster, dramatically cheaper. Your Ethereum wallets work, your smart contracts work, everything just works. We're talking 100 millisecond block finality and 100,000 transactions per second. That's orders of magnitude faster than most competing blockchains. Our execution layer is written in Rust, built for speed. We're confident in these numbers. So we're going to see what exactly does that mean, right? For like how exactly that provides the value. URP, your rules, protocol level royalties. So this is all the royalty stuff that is so important for the space. One place at a time, forever yours, no fees, no renewals, no shutdowns. Your assets are stored on decentralized backup nodes. Who's it for? For licensors and IP owners, for developers and game studios, for collectors and users. So, Veve migration. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Veve has been running on Immutable X. That's changing. Here's exactly what's happening and when. Phase 1, end of January 2025. For Veve users, nothing changes. Seriously, nothing. Your custodial wallet stays the same. Your address stays the same. Your collectibles stay the same. The way you interact with Veve stays the same. That is very good because the last thing you need is that users have to do anything. Difference, there will be a new blockchain explorer at Collect and Immutable X will be decommissioned. Your assets move seamlessly to Collect behind the scenes. For OMI tokens still on Immutable X, most users have already migrated, but if you forgot, we are planning to move all remaining tokens at once. You'll be able to claim through Veve or Ecomi. This is intentionally boring. Phase 1 is about rock solid migration, not flashy features. The exciting stuff comes in phase 2. So then this is also a little bit what we wanted, right? It's one of our demands here that we do have something like a roadmap for Veve and Ecomi. And this kind of provides a roadmap, right? Phase 2, summer 2026, this is a full launch. Self-custody for Veve collectors, connect MetaMask and actual control your keys. Unify account system, your Veve account works seamlessly on the Collect marketplace. Market protocol, the full marketplace experience, historical transaction data, full provenance on the blockchain explorer, open for new licensors. Collect becomes available to any brand, artist, or IP holder. That is good. And so on, right? This is pretty big. I think we need to go into this one by one or so. But we do have here Dr. Collect, right? And Sean have been driving this vision from day one. Alec, technical lead. Sylvain, leading product design with, and so on. So here, full doxed team around it. David, Dan, and Raphael as advisors. We're also working with incredible partners. Blah blah. Celestia for data availability. Yada yada. What's coming? I'm intentionally not giving you exact dates for every feature. We've learned from experience that overpromising and undervaluing destroys trust. That is a very good learning. Phase 1 is migration. Phase 2 brings the full platform in summer 2026. Between now and then, we'll share roadmap updates and features get locked. Follow our channel, stay tuned, blah, blah. The vision: buy it, own it, sell it. Your choice. Lend it, auto returns. So lending is back on the table. Display it across platforms. Use it in games, apps, experiences. Preserve it forever on chain. That's the standard we're building toward. New year, no Omi law? Maybe. We don't. Not sure. Let's see. Dark and Cover says, I'm so bullish on Collect that I think it could actually kick off a new NFT bull run if it is what they want it to be. And Dr. Collect is no slouch. He'll get killer projects on this chain, I'm sure. Yeah, we will see, right? We will see, but it sure sounds interesting. I want to learn more about this. Penguin Colada, what do you think about Veve? Are you bullish on that project? Yeah, I think it's good. I don't know if they did post anything in the last... if they're working on this. December 18th is the last post. I think what is going to be very stressful for many projects is that this bull run or the bull run not coming is going to be the death for many altcoin projects, right? For many things that are not generating revenue anyways, right? So we will see. We have seen a lot of projects go belly up already, right? So this could be happening, right? Veve is just another altcoin project. I think it's how can you say, like, it's an exchange, but yeah, it's a decentralized exchange. And they have been like high TPS blockchain. Yeah, that's basically it. It's an exchange. Let's go Metacade, please. Happy New Year, everyone. Smash the like. Maybe that's the biggest milestone here from the last things. I mean, they've pinned here. I didn't look at them since I think October or so. Veve partners with Veve to drive on-chain adoption of Veve network. Following the successful launch of Veve network, Veve is entering its next phase of growth, one centered on real-world deployment, ecosystem expansion, and developer participation. I think Veve is, like, besides exchange, somehow, I think it's an L1, like a layer 1 blockchain next to that. Yeah, but that's about it. Metacade, I don't know if they are. I think they are building still. Like Metacade, from what I did see, they should if that's their official account, they should really get the company logo going, right? It's time to earn. Yeah, they posted like 22 hours ago. So, but they're shilling also. Like, they're shilling hard. Beard is coming along, bro. Looking good. Thank you very much. Metacade, first tweet of the year. Yeah, they're posting like Happy New Year and stuff like that, getting engagement on. I think they're also growing, like 56,000 followers on Twitter. Yeah, Metacade is going good as well. So as long as they are alive, I'm not too worried, right? Metacade being a gaming platform, obviously, for hosting tournaments and tournament prize pools and trying to get those gaming communities on Metacade on base. Yeah, but that's it, guys, for today. First stream of 2026. More to come. Painful crypto journey we had already. Yeah, exactly. But this is also the thing, Sven, where I'm saying it's painful, but you don't get to learn that fast anywhere else, right? No book, no course from anyone who's shilling you courses and so on. Like no one gets you to learn that fast as these experiences in crypto. So even, this is why I'm always saying, even though if you lost money, let's say you, even it's unrealized, right? But you look at your altcoin portfolio and like, damn, I'm down $5,000, right? But you had 4 years of crazy learning curve, and you go on split those $5,000 by 4 years by 48. That's not that much money. That's like $100 per month, right? 100 and a bit. $100 per month is a good subscription for lifelong financial education. And I think that's what crypto made with all of us in the last bull run, or from the last bull run throughout the bear market to right now. It's priceless financial education that we're getting by just being in this space. Yeah, and of course, if you made money, it's even better. But if you lost money, see it as an investment. And if you were to like if you were to sum up 1 or 2 of your subscriptions, of useless subscriptions from Netflix, maybe not that useless, but it's like entertain. It just costs money. You take Netflix and 2 to 3 other things, you get to these values, right? Given that it's $5,000, if it's $500,000, maybe we can rethink how much that is, right? But if it's $5,000 or so, there's no necessity to cry after this shit, right? Because in the light of the learnings that you have in financial knowledge, that is not measurable in the next couple of decades, right? So let's say you learned something valuable out of these 4 years about investing, and you make this worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in the next couple of years and decades. You will not know it, right? But think about it from time to time when you actually make something good in the financial market, that only because you lost some money in the last 4 years, that's even possible, right? Maybe you would never make money because you've lost it, because you would never have risked and lost some money before, right? Booth says, growing the beard out, I see, thumbs up. Yeah, I'm going to put it only in shape, but I kind of like it. So let's see where the beard goes. Anyways, guys. For today, that shall be it. Smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below if you agree, disagree with any of these topics. We've covered a lot. Happy New Year 2026. May it be the best year that you've experienced ever for each and every one of you. Let's share our wins, our losses here, and I can't wait to start the next video or live stream with everyone else here. Have a good one, everyone, wherever you are on the world. And goodbye until the next stream.